the idea of retooling your organization to make it fundamentally more adaptive and innovative makes you think, oh gosh, we got to design, a massive, meticulously designed, top-down change program. We're going to be in trouble. Because here's the thing with change programs. They all have one thing in common. Can anyone guess what it is? Most of them fail. You've probably been through some kind of re-engineering or strategy redirect. Most of them tend to fail. And we've been studying the challenge of big change at the Management Lab, which is my little initiative that I run with a few people. And what we found are 3 widely held beliefs about change that are particularly toxic. Let's just go through them. Change starts at the top. The notion that top executives, senior leaders are the ones who initiate change. They're the ones who are best placed to judge when change should happen. Well, the problem here is most senior leaders are insulated by layers of managers, and when change becomes big enough and unavoidable enough to capture the scarce attention of senior leadership, you're already playing defense. You know that expression, burning platform, that you hear CEOs say sometimes? Well, if you're already standing on it, you're already toast. We got to change that. Change is cascaded. Doesn't that sound lovely? Well, what it means is that change is rolled out, it is scripted, it is imposed upon people. And when you overly prescribe, both the ends and the means, people are not going to embrace change. This notion that change can be engineered, like a large-scale construction project. Here's the problem with this. Well, the scope and the nature of change, it's bounded by the imagination of the engineer. And often it's way too limited or it's way too grandiose. So the question is, if you do want to make deep change that's sustainable and avoid these pitfalls, what do? Well, let me offer up a few approaches to building a robust change platform rather than a change program that kind of gets around these pitfalls. So move from being a top-down change architect to being an activist-out change enabler. If you want change to be proactive and pervasive, you have to syndicate out the responsibility for initiating change to everyone in the organization. So take, for example, a small band of trainee doctors, young leaders, and change specialists at the National Health Service in the United Kingdom, enormous organization. Several years ago, they initiated something they called Change Day in 2013. And they scrounged resources and budget. They borrowed what they could. They begged. They leveraged social media. And they sparked a grassroots social movement in the NHS where they got 189,000 people to pledge one concrete action to improve patient outcomes. The next year, those pledges and those actions ballooned to 800,000 people involved. Today, Change Day is a platform for system-wide change efforts where they've done everything from reimagine radically maternal care to solve a decades-old sticky problem of getting the right wheelchair to the right person at the right time. And so they've effectively enabled and invited everyone at the NHS, this is the 5th largest employer in the world, huge organization, to be a change leader. And in the process, they've improved care for tens of thousands of people. From sold to invited, right? So if you want people to be genuinely committed to change from the get-go, you have to, bid out the how. You can't just look for buy-in after something's fully baked. And this is very much actually like what you heard announced the other day, the credit union innovation program that was just announced with OpenIDO. How do you bid out the how of change or innovation to a wide group of people? We've worked, again, at the Management Lab with many large organizations around launching what we call hackathons around tackling big, system-wide, just really thorny problems by inviting hundreds, thousands, even 10,000s of people across organizations to get involved. And one quick example is Adidas North America, the sports apparel company, has been on a multi-year journey actually now to create a culture where innovation is both intrinsic, embedded in the DNA of everything they do, and also instinctive, where every person is equipped and energized and inspired to innovate. And they could have, to do this, they could have appointed an innovation czar or a steering committee, but instead, they launched a hackathon and invited thousands of people across the organization from every level and every function to take part. And this is a little picture of the platform we created. I can't show you much more, but it's a collaborative platform that's designed to get, on the one hand, everybody really smart about the problem, not just to sort of throw ideas out there, and then to enable deep collaboration to generate thousands of options when it comes to how do we hack our organization to make it fundamentally innovation friendly. The result has been a portfolio of shovel-ready, risk-bounded experiments that they're testing and they're learning from and they're iterating on, and some they're going to discard and some they're going to scale. Third option here, moving from managed change to something that's more organic. So Kurt Lewin, a psychologist, has this famous model of change. It's called unfreeze, change, freeze. And that model is kind of engraved in the mind of most leaders who think of change as sort of like this episodic interruption of the status quo. But in a world that's changing all the time, what we need is something more like permanent slush. And that's exactly what Cemex, the company I just introduced you to a moment ago, has. They have some 500 self-defined, self-governed communities. This could be a global group of electricians or a cross-boundary group of people who are working on bottom-of-the-pyramid solutions for buildings and financing. And they work together to generate and implement change initiatives, thousands of them a year. And these organic communities that cross every kind of boundary, functional, hierarchical, geographical, they can do things that the formal organization has never been able to do, like supercharge their sustainability agenda, create the first global product in a highly localized industry. So it's often said, people don't like change, right? You've heard that before. We don't like change. Well, if that were true, would we move across the country, get married, have kids, pick up a new hobby if we didn't like change? I think it's not that we don't like change. We just don't like royal edicts. We don't want our change to be rolled out to us. We want to help roll it up.